Well, I'll start when it's the right time. I'll start applying to jobs when it's the right time. I'll start that business when it's the right time. I'll start posting content on Instagram when it's the right time. But if you're always waiting for the right time, you'll never start. And if you never start, things can never go right because you never started. It's kind of like sitting around and expecting that there's just going to be this magic day when you go, yup, it's the right time for me to start that idea I've had for the last 5 years. I'm sure we all know somebody who every New Year's, they have the exact same resolution. This is the year when I'm getting out of this job. This is the year when I'm starting that business. This is the year when I'm getting in the gym. This is the year. But they said it last year, and the year before that, and the year before that. And when you ask them, why haven't you made any progress, they'll tell you, I'm just waiting for the right time. Things just aren't right now. It's not the right time for me to start. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. The fact that if you're always sitting there waiting for things to be perfect, you'll be waiting forever. Because life is never perfect. Life is never the right time. You have to take action. You have to go for it. Now, of course, that doesn't mean just start rushing into anything. Don't take this out of context. If it comes to something like, oh my gosh, it is windy today. But when it comes to something like having a child, you might want to wait for the right time for that. You want to think that one through. But with something like starting a business, especially if you're young and if you're able to start, go for it. Because you don't really have much to lose. I think that we procrastinate so much because the idea of actually starting scares us. Not that we're scared of what could go wrong, but in a backwards way, a part of us is scared of what can go right because it'll be outside our comfort zone. It'll mean that I'll have to become someone different. What if I do become a multi-millionaire and, my family starts asking me for money and now I got to tell them no because I'm not about to fund their crazy ideas? What if I have to become that kind of person? It scares us to be outside of our norm. It scares us to have to get out there, to leave the nest. When a bird first learns how to fly, they don't just know how to do it. They sit there, they watch their mom or dad or whatever parent bird flap. And then they're like, okay, I gotta do this. And they jump out there and they start flapping their wings. And at first with anything, it's gonna be a period where it's difficult. There's gonna be a period where things are really uncomfortable. There's going to be a time when it's really scary, but you have to allow yourself to take action despite the fear. Because if you're sitting waiting for everything to be right, what does that even look like? What does that even mean? Are you saying that you want a receipt before you buy the product? Are you saying that you want to get paid before you go to work? Are you saying that you want to lose weight before you change your diet? Oh, I'll change my diet after I lose weight. I'll start after I have the thing. I'll try after I win. I'll hit play on the game after I've won. Think about that just on a logical level. And if you don't even know what you're trying to, let me put it like this. You say that you're going to start when the time is right, but how do you define that? How do you clearly understand when is the right time? Because if I, at 15 years old, and when I first started making these videos, I hopped on the internet, all I had was an iPhone. I didn't have no microphone, no tripod, no lighting, no ring lights, none of that. I just had an iPhone, and that was it. And I started with where I was. Instead of waiting for the right time, I made it the right time. Instead of waiting for some sign to fall out the sky that says Lawrence start, I listened to myself. I said, all right, this might be scary. This might be outside my comfort zone. It might require me to do things that I'm not used to. But if you want to become somebody, well, if you want to have something that you've never had before, and I'm talking about big things. I'm talking about life-changing results, becoming the first millionaire in your family, losing 50 pounds, graduating from Harvard. If you want to achieve something big that you've never had before, you have to become someone that you've never been before. If somebody was 500 pounds and then they became 200 pounds, the version of them at 200 is a different person than 500 pounds. They eat different. They wear different clothes. They have different hobbies. They have different habits. They drink different things. They go different places. When they go to a restaurant, they order different food. This is a different person on a deep identity level. And most of the time when we say that I'm waiting for the right time to start, we're looking at the surface level things. We're looking at, I'll start that business when I have the money. I'll start going to the gym when I have the body. I'll start when I have the surface level result that says I should start. But you have to look deeper than that and say, who do I have to become in order to have that? And the version of you that has it is the version of you that isn't constantly waiting and constantly procrastinating. Because admitting to yourself that I'm waiting for the right time is just an excuse to not do the work that you know you should be doing. You don't want to say that. Instead, you want to say, I'm waiting for the right time because it'll be easier when I already have the money to do the thing. We make these really good excuses, and we know that they're excuses when someone else says it, but excuses sound so good when you're the one making the excuse. Excuses sound so good when you're the one explaining it to yourself, because you know the exact words to say to make yourself believe the lie. Even though you know you're still lying to yourself, you're like, you dress it up really pretty. I said this in a video I think it was a month or two ago, that perfectionism is procrastination dressed up really pretty. And what I mean by that is we're waiting for things to be perfect. We're trying to be perfect as a way of not having to do the work. Because the work is necessary, the work is required, but it won't always be easy. And it'll also mean that you'll have to do things outside your comfort zone. For me, one of those things was having to spend money on this camera. I spent like $1,000 on this thing. And I did not want to spend that money, but I knew that I can't keep waiting for the right time. I have to make it the right time. I have to say, Lawrence, we're going to stop procrastinating and we're going to do what we came to do. We're going to do what we know is necessary to get us to that next level. Because waiting for the right time is a guaranteed way to never get what you want. I'm waiting for the right time to ask that girl or that guy out. You'll never get them because you never said, hey, I think you're cute. They might have been waiting for you for so long, but they're the one who's nervous to come up and say it first. So had you said it, you two could have been dating a year before that. Oh, I'm waiting for the right time to start going to the gym. You know, I'll start New Year's. The person who starts July 1st is 6 months ahead of the person who starts January 1st. And in the process, you're going to realize that you're going to make mistakes. No one ever gets it 100% right the first time. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, all these basketball players that we look up to, none of them have a perfect track record. It was Michael Jordan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Michael Jordan. It was either LeBron or Michael. One of those two. They lost they missed 9,000 shots. But they made 20,000. Now, you have to ask yourself, if I don't take that first shot, if I'm afraid of what if I'm never perfect? What if I don't get it right my first time? What if this? What if that? I'll never start. I'll never try. And if you never start, it'll never be the right time. That's a thing in our head. That is a very vague, made up idea to allow us to procrastinate. And procrastination kills your dreams. If you listen to any like elderly person on their deathbed, and there's a book where they interviewed people like right before they were about to die, like elderly people on their deathbed, people with cancer, all that sort of stuff. And they asked them, what is your biggest regret? Most of them said, I wish I would have started that thing when I was younger. When I was 25 years old and I didn't have anything to lose, I wish I started that business, because if you're 20 years old, you're probably still living with your mom or your dad. I am. So I'm not saying that in a shaming way. I'm just saying, if you really think about it, if you're under the age of 25, you don't have children, and you don't have like student loan debt, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You are young, you are healthy, you don't have any debt, you don't have like any major expenses. You might be paying rent, but if you're living with your parents, you're probably only paying like, I don't know, $500, $1,000. I pay my mom $300. So the point is this: you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. You might just make a couple mistakes here and there. You might embarrass yourself on the internet. People might think you're crazy, but everyone we look up to, like the Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, the LeBron James of the world, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, anyone you name, they got called crazy, and then they got called right. When Kobe Bryant said, I'm going to be the best basketball player ever. Now, if you want to go off like statistics, he's not the best ever. But the point is this: when he said, I'm going to be in the NBA, and he was 5 years old, and he was 5 years old saying, I'm going to be in the NBA, people were like, yeah, that's cute. Then he was 10 years old still saying, oh, that's a great idea. 15 years old, oh, okay, you're full of yourself, you're crazy, you're arrogant. But then when he got into the NBA, oh my gosh, how'd you do it? People write books about the people who were crazy enough to try. Yeah, that wind might be blowing like really hard, but I'm going to repeat this like once it stops blowing. People write books about the people who were crazy enough to try. The Wright brothers. The government at this point in time hadn't been spending millions and millions of dollars trying to figure out how to build an airplane, and they couldn't figure it out. They had the top scientists try to figure it out. They couldn't figure it out. But these two guys who made bicycle engines said, we're going to try. Everyone thought they were crazy. But then they wrote books about them because they were crazy enough to try, and eventually they figured it out. Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. Everyone's been trying to figure out how to make a light bulb, and no one can figure it out. It's not possible. It's not going to work. And Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, these guys are in there thousands of times trying to figure this thing out. And everyone's like, you guys are crazy. Until one day they figured it out, and now people write books about them. Or you could think of anybody, really. The point is this: you have to stop waiting for the right time, and you have to stop waiting for everything to be right, because it'll never be right. You have to stop waiting for the right time, and instead you have to be willing to say, I'm going to make this the right time. Today's the day I'm going to start. Whether you have dreams of creating like oh my God, that bird just swooped down and snatched a fish out the water. Yeah, that is so cool. That bird just like snatched a fish. But hold up, I'm going to try to like catch it on camera. Okay, you guys might not have saw that, but hopefully I got it. But the point is this: stop waiting for the right time. It'll never be the right time. You have to make today the right time. If you want to become like a movie film star and all you have right now is an iPhone, start making TikTok. Start making like comedy sketches. Start like making little YouTube videos or something. I don't know, get you and a couple of friends to buy costumes off Amazon and start posting that. If you want to become like in really good shape, but you don't have the best workout equipment and you don't have the fancy gym membership and you don't have all of that, take $15 and go to Planet Fitness. But I don't know what workout to do. You got YouTube. You can figure it out. Or, some people, we overcomplicate the process. We make it so much harder than it has to be. The simple, easiest method to building muscle in the gym, and this works. Pick up the heavy thing. Put the heavy thing down. Drink water. Eat less soda. Drink less soda. Like, it's so simple, but we make life so much harder than it gotta be. And I know I'm probably rambling at this point, so I'm gonna, cut it. But point is this. Yeah, that bird is like, it hasn't even stopped to eat the fish. It's just circling the lake, showing it off. But the point is this. Stop waiting for the right time. It'll never be the right time. Make today the right day. Go out there. Be crazy enough to try. Be crazy enough to do what you can, where you are, with what you've got. Learn from the mistakes. Learn from the actions that you take and get better. And every day you get better, and eventually it's as if you magically, it falls into place. But it doesn't fall into place. You became the right person at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and it just happened. With that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're a podcast old school principal or looking for a speaker for your youth organization, you can contact me at lawrence@lawrencecharris.com, as well as if you're looking for my books, one-on-one coaching, or any of my other products, my website, lawrencecharris.com. Have a good one.